Welcome to Tone Deaf, a theater nerd's guide for their musically challenged spouse. I'm Kay, a musical theater nerd.
And I'm Warren. I'm musically challenged.
So today, Warren, we are going to be doing musical reviews. We're going to be talking about a amazing dancer slash choreographer slash... I spent way too long researching him.
So,
Donald McKayle.
I have a weird question
Yes.
that probably will be answered, but I want to see if I can guess what it is.
Yes.
So, based on the context of this whole musical reviews thing, I am going to bet that it is a musical that reviews another musical.
So...
No.
Not quite, but I'm gonna get into some stuff related to it will tie in a tiny bit to my presentation on reviews.
Okay, I will shut up and listen.
You are fine, and we're gonna be having Sophisticated Ladies be the review that we watch, which is one that Donald McKayle created. Like I said, I've talked about and alluded to musical reviews many times, but never actually told you what they are.
This is true. I can verify, as by my completely inaccurate guess at the beginning of this episode.
You are fine. So, musical reviews, spelled revue, because French, are a theatrical form.
Oh no, it's French.
Well, the word is.
Oh.
And they kind of... I'll get into it in my presentation, because if I go too far off my notes, this will become a 50-minute episode.
I'm putting on my student hat. I will eagerly listen and be quiet.
All right, so they are a theatrical form that on the surface may look like a variety or vaudeville or burlesque show with music, dance acts, sketches, no actual plot. And that would be correct, because that's kind of where they get their influences.
It sounds very entertaining.
They are very entertaining. I personally like that style, even though I don't know, I hesitate to I hesitate to lump them in with other musicals just because of how different they are from musicals, but they are still a legitimate form of it. And as I'm going to get into, they were really popular for a time, like ridiculously popular, to where if you thought musical, you thought these.
It was almost like a hybrid and precursors, like a musical sketch comedy.
It was, yeah. And the difference with them and other variety acts or vaudeville or minstrel or anything like that is that they are usually tied together with a central theme. So they don't have a plot, but they do have a theme.
Okay.
So they started in Europe and England before coming over to the US, where we have our first musical review, The Passing Show, by Sidney Rosenfeld and Ludwig Englander, and presented by George Lederer in 1894.
What's to be said about The Passing Show, other than it was the minimum viable product? It passed.
Well...
I'm just joking. I'm being
I don't want to think about minimum viable product right now. No. So, this review was meant as a parody of the shows that were produced that year on Broadway, and that does become a theme in some types of review shows that exist out there. You could almost say that Saturday's Voyeur sometimes was a review, but they did still have a plot in their shows, so I would hesitate to call them a review. You could maybe consider Forbidden Broadway kind of a review. Which you haven't seen Forbidden Broadway, you've just heard me sing some of the songs. But I would what am I trying to say? I'll just go back to my notes. So after The Passing Show premieres, it becomes an annual production, and it spawns other review shows, and I've decided that later I'm going to show you some of the older movie musical reviews that still exist, and that'll just be another month, because most of them are white-led productions, not black-led productions, so because of the
nature of the specific episodes, yes.
Well, and also the nature of what gets preserved and what doesn't.
Yeah, that also is unfortunate.
Yeah, and I won't go too far into that, other than there are some reviews that I really wish I could find somewhere. So, in the lead up to the Great Depression, these were extremely popular and extravagant pieces of theater. Like, that's where you get a lot of the burlesque style costumes. You get shows. Have you ever seen Have you ever had a reference to Ziegfeld Follies at all?
Yes, and
That's revues.
But I only have heard it as a word that I didn't know what it means.
Okay.
I didn't know what it was, but
Right.
I do know I have heard of Ziegfeld Follies.
Okay. There's those. There's what were some of the other ones? Because I wasn't focusing on them this week. But if you think a lot of big dance numbers, but there's no plot stringing them together. There's just, these are all the songs by this composer, and so we're going to have these big extravagant numbers to this composer. That was the revue at this time period. And you're gonna see that with Sophisticated Ladies, even though Sophisticated Ladies is from the 80s. They do very much lean into the older style of reviews, or the more classic.
Big extravagant spectacles.
Yes.
So I guess vast as an ocean, deep as a pond kind of thing.
Yes. And so they waned in popularity, but here and there a new revue would pop up. And this is where I'm going to put out a call again to anyone who has footage of any version of the show Tomfoolery, which is a review of the songs of Tom Lehrer, please email tonedeafmusical@gmail.com. I will do anything.
Lucifer, you owe us one.
You do owe us one. We got you out of that. We got you out of that bind a few weeks back. You owe us one. Lucifer's a guy that, gives us free grass clippings and stuff for my composter, so he owes us one. So, that is just a really quick primer on these shows before we get into the meat of today's episode, which is Donald McKayle and his revue from 1981, Sophisticated Ladies. And I ran into this issue where I was originally going to talk about both him and Duke Ellington, but both of them have such rich stories, and I feel like I need to take more time with both of them. So this is going to be a review on the life of Donald McKayle, and I am going to be looking for more of his works so that we can do a very in-depth episode on him, because he is fascinating.
Cool.
And I want to revisit him, and I have a feeling that I have some books in our boxes at home that are books with him, like about him or touch on him a little bit. So there will be more about him later. And this was all a lot more than I intended to do while I was doing the notes for it, because I realized he was one of the many dancers that we covered in my African American experience through dance class in college. And I am just sort of like, oh, this is going to be a whole section next year.
See, I thought you were going to say that he was somebody we covered in past Black History Theater episodes, and I was going to be like, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, we haven't covered him yet. I've alluded to companies that he has worked with, I believe, but we haven't actually covered him. So, about Donald McKayle. He was born on July 6th, 1930, Cancers represent, in New York City. He was of Jamaican descent and grew up in East Harlem, which was integrated at the time. His parents were both liberal activists, which was a major influence on him, but one fact that caught my attention as a blues and jazz fan was that he was influenced by his high school English teacher. His name was Abel Mirapole, and he wrote the poem Strange Fruit, which is what was later made into the song made famous by Billie Holiday and later Nina Simone.
Yeah, the song that It is haunting.
Yes, it is. So that kind of gives you an idea of some more of his influences. And I was very I had this moment of like, oh my gosh, I have something that I can point to that Warren knows.
That might tickle a brain cell.
That'll tickle a brain cell so he knows where it's coming from. So, he also joined the Frederick Douglass Society in high school because guess what wasn't being taught at the time in schools in any meaningful way.
Oh, the same stuff that's trying to get banned now?
Yep. So he's got this in his background, but he also has a theater and dance in his background because his father worked maintenance for the Copacabana nightclub, and his parents would take him to social dances and to West Indies immigrant parties, which is also going to be absolutely foundational for him for the long term. But he's not going to be classically trained yet in dance. It's very much just social dancing.
So kind of what he's picked up, what his peers have taught him and stuff like that, just what he's kind of a self-taught artist to an extent.
Yeah, so in the 40s, he sees this amazing dancer named Pearl Primus, who I almost went down a rabbit hole on.
Primus.
Yes.
Is that their real name?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
At least I believe so. I almost went down a rabbit hole on her.
That's a baller stage name if that's not the real name, Primus.
Yeah, I have to save her for another episode too, because there's so much information on her. And he gets inspired, and without any formal training, he's accepted into and gets a scholarship for the new dance group, which taught a variety of dance styles from ballet to modern to Afro-Caribbean, and within a year he was doing his own choreography, beginning with his first solo piece, Saturday's Child, in 1948, and this was meant to show the struggles of the homeless population. And you'll find that a lot with a lot of dance that's from both this era, and it shows up a lot in modern times as dance being used for social movements rather than just like the meaning of the dance is for a social movement. It's to highlight something.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and when I do a full episode on him, we will be watching all of his dances that are available on YouTube. Because that way you can get kind of an idea of what I mean by that. So, this piece led to his induction in the Committee for the Negro in the Arts. He choreographed several other pieces, including Creole Afternoon, Games, Rainbow Round My Shoulder. In 1964, he choreographs the musical Golden Boy, for which he was nominated for a Tony, and he was also nominated for a Tony for Best Choreography when he choreographed the musical adaptation of Raisin in the Sun, called Raisin.
Ooh.
Again, the email address for any versions of Golden Boy or Raisin is tonedeafmusical@gmail.com, and I'm mostly speaking visual, not audio, because audio, well, Raisin, I can't even find a soundtrack, but I can for Golden Boy. I have been vexed by this for decades.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they were not preserved.
They probably are somewhere, it's just that I'm not cool enough to get into an archive.
Okay, we both know that's not true. You just don't have the right contacts yet for the archive.
Aw, thanks. So, one example of his choreography that I know that you have seen.
Uh-oh, that's a lot of pressure.
Is this little kids movie that had mixed in animation and live action and Angela Lansbury.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks?
Yes.
Yay.
He choreographed that. So there's a little bit of an example there too.
Nice.
For you. So, in 1981, he created and choreographed the revue Sophisticated Ladies, which was based on Duke Ellington's music. And I really wanted to go into him too, but I don't want this to be a super long intro this week because I've been really bad at keeping these tight. So, instead, I'm going to give you an idea of how this was received with part of the opening of the New York Times review for Sophisticated Ladies. In the course of his extraordinary career, Duke Ellington did just about everything with jazz that any immortal could be expected to do. Yet, strangely enough, there was one goal that eluded this giant of American music right up to his death in 1974. He never had a hit Broadway show to call his own. Well, it sure looks as if he has one now. Sophisticated Ladies, the new musical revue at the Lunt Fontanne, I totally butchered that name, oh well, is an Ellington celebration that just won't quit until it has won over the audience with its dynamic showmanship. It's not a perfect entertainment, let's save the flaws for later, but it rides so high on affection, skill, and of course stunning music that lapses don't begin to spoil the fun. What's more, this is the only Broadway revue of recent vintage that operates on a truly grand scale. There's a lavishness in this show's physical production, right up to the last spangle on the last top hat, and it's in its depth of performing talent right down to the last member of the chorus that actually squares with current Broadway ticket prices. Ellington, who had an extravagant style to go with his genius, would undoubtedly be pleased.
Very nice.
So that's what you're in for.
Cool.
So, this was nominated for 8 Tonys and won Best Costume and Best Featured Actor and ran from March 1st, 1981 to January 2nd, 1983. And I couldn't find as much on this as I wanted to, so that's why I'm focusing on Don McKayle, but then, yeah. Like I said, this could fill episodes. So, McKayle also created his own dance company, Donald McKayle and the Dancers, which was active from 1951 to 1969. He headed the Inner City Repertory Dance Company in the early 70s. He worked with the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, which will be a whole other episode. Like I said, this reminded me of so many rabbit holes I have wanted to go down and why I'm so mad that all these books are in storage.
Oh, next.
I guess not storage,
but yeah.
They're in a box in our house, and I don't know which box. Because towards the end of moving, I had labeled things with, it came from the pantry, or...
That's so funny. I just want to be done.
This came from Kay's desk. We don't know what it is. This might be dinosaurs, it might be books that they need. So... he was a choreographer for the Lehman Dance Company for several years, starting in 1995. He was also the dance captain for the original run of West Side Story at one point. He, towards the end of his life, was the endowed chair at UC Irvine. Like I said, multiple episodes about this man. I could do so many. I need to get some more books. So... on April 6, 2018, he passed in a hospital near Irvine, California, and was survived by his wife and his 3 children. So that's the rundown, quickly, of Donald McKayle's life, and just a fraction of his accomplishments.
Yeah, maybe to do like a month spotlight or something.
Yeah. Because the... African American experience through dance class that I took at the U was really helpful for me in my first year of college, and I forgot for a little while just how much I loved the stuff that I learned in that class. Like, there were some, because even though I'm not a big modern dance person, because, I don't know, some of the modern dance that I saw when I was a little kid, I didn't get it. But the way that stuff was presented in that class for Black modern dance made me just go, oh, I have a new appreciation for it. And so I do want to talk about that, but it won't be this month.
Okay.
It may be a later month. It may be that we decide to do a surprise Black History episode some point this year, like I wanted to do last year, and then we didn't. But it'll be after I get everything unpacked. Anyway, that is Sophisticated Ladies, and that is me coming in at about 20 minutes. Go me.
Nice.
Look at that.
Look at you.
That's amazing. Now we can go however long we want with your review of Sophisticated Ladies.
You're so incredibly miraculous and enthralling. I can't take my eyes off you. Yes. Yes. Acknowledge your greatness, Kay.
They are amazing. Our Kay is an awesome Kay. They reign.
My
from
Kay is an
Utah
awesome
there, and
Kay.
they are awesome and cool. Our K is an awesome K.
I love that.
Thanks. Ever since we started playing World Box, I've had awesome God stuff in my head.
And then there's my case. Our God is a clumsy God.
Our God is a clumsy God. He rains down fire and death. He did not mean to press. Our God is a clumsy God.
Our God caused an earthquake accidentally and destroyed an entire continent. Whoops. My bad, guys.
We got everything here. Fun.
No, we don't have K.
Education. What?
Reviews.
We don't have a review yet.
But I know where we can go find one.
Yes, in the living room, where we can watch sophisticated ladies. Let's go.
Woo!
Hey, Warren.
Hey, Kay.
Do you know what time it is?
Is it time to talk about our favorite people in the whole wide world?
It is!
Woo! We'd like to thank our stage crew sponsors, Jasmine Wu, Jeff, Tyler McCarty, and Shamick.
And our producer circle sponsors, BeAnucci, Taylor Brandt, Jesse, and Cookie. Thank you all so much for your continued support of our show.
We truly appreciate it.
Feeling better for me is top priority, mentally, physically, and emotionally. They all work together. Talking about the things that we all may experience, but just don't quite know how to say. It really opens up some new dialogue and perspective. That's the goal here. Sometimes you gotta see yourself a little bit better and leave yourself alone because there are other people who see you for exactly who you are. And that's all good. We stay elevated here. But even Dr. Jekyll had a dark side. I mean, who doesn't love a good story to make the hairs on their arms stand up? I started to walk a little faster, just figuring if it was probably someone trying to scare me. It was like a hazing, but this didn't feel right. Night Owl is the hangout for those horror fans looking for a little bump in the night. Monday motivation, Friday frights. We like balance here, and the Bird Brain podcast has it all. Take flight. Sleep tight.
And now, the lights are going down and the music's starting back up, so let's head back to the second act of our show. Alright, Warren, so what did you think of your first musical review?
I thought it was pretty sophisticated, and
Yeah.
there were a lot of ladies.
That there were, Warren, that there were.
I thought it was pretty good. It was very different from anything that we've reviewed before because it was pretty much constant music, non-stop. The music changed, just to kind of fit the mood of whatever the particular song was. But, oh man, just wall-to-wall jazz, and I loved it.
Awesome.
And, it was different because, you're right, there was no story, no plot really. The whole theme was Duke Ellington's music, and it was good. It was good.
I am so glad.
They had an interesting thing that I noticed, and I'll talk about it in my notes, but the songs always kind of had a running theme, and the theme was generally like love or romance or passion,
Yeah.
And it was always a mix, they would have like a sad song, and then it would go into a happy song or a vibrant song, and then that would go into a sad song, and then a vibrant song. And so it was this constant, good swing down, swing up. Like, they did a very good job of maintaining kind of a harmony between
Yes.
it. It wasn't down too long and then up too high. It did very much it was so incredibly artistically well done, just expertly so. And I know we found out later at the end in the credits that the composer was Duke Ellington's son.
Yes.
And he did a great job. Just all of the music was so good. I wish, I know that I like jazz. I forgot that my favorite type of jazz is the big band jazz.
Yes.
And And it was just...
my favorite, too.
Yeah, it was just wall-to-wall, just great. Just lots of lovely, vibrant, exciting music, and just as I'm typing, you saw me, as I'm typing, I'm like bopping in my seat and bouncing and just kind of thing. And of course they not open, well, kind of open. They kind of open and close the show with the it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Do I. And that just, I love that. And that, it's been a while since I've heard that song. It's going to be living rent-free in my head for the foreseeable future. Like, just, I'm going to be working tomorrow and I'm just going to be, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
I'll add it to the sing in the car.
Oh,
music.
I love it. I love it.
I'm so glad.
But yeah, so getting into it, the show opens up with some great jazz music as the credits introduce some of the big names, and man, I am digging this jazz. I think I need to put Duke Ellington on a playlist or something. So anyways, the awesome intro music ends, and some guys come out on stage in white tuxedos, and they start to tap dance and scatting all over the place, as they're singing about being rug cutters, which... unless that is a euphemism for something, I assume they're just happy to have a job cutting rugs in the rug factory. These guys are just very excited, and they prove it by having very happy-tappy feet.
Cutting a rug is just another term for dancing.
Why?
I could probably look it up.
It just seemed like such... And the green side of my brain kicked in and just went into full-on literal mode. And it's like, well, they said that they're rug cutters. So, how are rugs made? Do they just have a long sheet of rug? And there's somebody in the factory just slicing off the edge. Okay, hit the 8-foot mark. Oh, okay, this one's the 12-foot mark. These guys were just singing about being rug cutters.
I'm sure I could find the etymology of why cutting a rug is the... term for dancing.
I could imagine that, it probably because there is a rug somewhere that people danced on and is very, very worn. And
yeah.
So the happy feeders tap their way off stage, and a man in a slick 1920s suit talking about how music is a woman. And right on cue, Music, the woman, comes out and dances with the man, who goes on to say that only is music a woman, not only is music a woman, but they are a sophisticated lady, and he can't wait to take that lady on the town. This is a realm of Pygmalion that I have never thought possible, that the abstract concept of music has manifested itself into a corporeal form that this man is going to take on a date. I guess it's like Lady Luck, but...
oh, gosh.
So, Mr. and Mrs. Music announce the next dance number, and it's it's 4 women in bikinis, basically,
yes.
with big palm tree-like leaves on their costumes, and googly-eyed tops. So I was giggling my butt off while these ladies were shaking their jungle butts, because they have these big googly-eye boobs that are going all over the places they're shaking.
Yeah, it was the Jungle Preview was what that they announced with it.
Okay, so that was the Jungle Preview. And since we have had 4 scantily clad ladies on screen, it's time for something for the ladies watching, because a scantily clad man in a leopard outfit jumps out of the jungle ladies, and he starts to dance with them. The lyricless dance scene ends. The scene transitions to a woman in what looks like, to me and my broken brain, a Navy sailor outfit with no hat, but if it was bedazzled so much it could interfere with radar. Because it was white and blue, and it had kind of like the diamond, almost like the necktie thing that the Navy uniforms have, the sailor suits. And that's the only thing I could think of to compare what she looked like.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
She's very sparkly.
I approve of sparkles.
That's because you're a bird.
Yeah.
This woman is singing about hitting her with a hot note, and she is quite the singer. Very smoky, deep, booming voice. Sparkle Lady takes her leave from the scene, and some gentlemen roll a woman out on a red piano, and she sings about how good things come to those who wait. But then a man jumps up on the piano and starts singing to the piano lady about going to Perdito. and Torito. This makes me want to eat a Dorito in a Speedo while I sip on a mojito. That's enough rhyming for now. So our dancers have made it to the beach, this metaphorical beach that they're going to, in their minds, and they soft dance while talking about, is the tide high or low? Maybe we should go. Adios! And they exit the stage, right, but not before popping back in to smile at the crowd and get some applause before scampering away.
And I do have a origin for you of cutting a rug.
Yes, please, I have to know.
So it comes from back when you dance the jitterbug, which is a really vigorous dance, and if you were dancing a bunch of couples in one area, it would actually make the carpet look like it had been cut through or gashed because of all the dancing on it.
See, that does make sense.
So that's where cutting a rug comes from.
So much fast friction on the floor creates visible lines.
Yes.
And so cutting a rug. Okay. A man comes out in some bright, colorful clothes and a huge push broom. He proceeds to start sweeping the floor, and he sings about someone who left him a house in Texas that's behind on payments, a can of beans from Boston, a coffee pot from Peru, and a knife and a cutting board. Everything that a man could want, except you. And the whole song is just about him, I guess. I don't know. There wasn't enough context. He got a letter from his sweetheart saying, hey, come meet me here. And then he showed up and maybe he got catfished before catfishing was a thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. All he says, he shows up and he's got a house that he can't pay for that's empty. And the woman that he was excited to be with isn't there.
Yep.
Sad day.
He looked like Kenneth from 30 Rock a little bit.
This same actor, this same dancer, he kind of does. He kind of does. And he was interesting because I think he's a smaller guy.
Yeah.
Just looking at him compared, being with other dancers and stuff on stage. And I think my favorite part that I saw him in, though, was him with the push broom.
Yes.
Because it was just him by himself on stage, but his physical presence was really good in that scene.
Yes.
So anyway, yes, he says that he has everything a man could want, except you! And the sad janitor drags his broom to leave as sad piano music begins to play. But he stops suddenly. There is a spotlight on the floor, and the janitor tries to clean it, like a cat with a laser pointer. The spotlight gets away from the janitor and reveals our next star. A woman in frilly blue outfit singing about how melody is great and all, but it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Do-ah, 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 do-ah. Doesn't matter if the music is sweet or hot, you gotta give it all you got, 'cause it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
And I rate that outfit that she was wearing a 3,000 out of 10. I would wear it.
It was very feathery and frilly.
I loved it.
I think the biggest difference is you would probably want it in a different color.
Yes, I would have it in a different color.
It was kind of a bright powdery blue, or more like a sky blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have it in like a dark purple or something. Mm-hmm. Look like a raven.
And a horde of orange and white asymmetrically dressed tuxedo men come out and fancy feet like pros, tapping along, but ultimately leaving the stage rather quickly as a man in a teal and white tuxedo comes out and just dances amazingly, making my knees and ankles cry out in imaginary pain as I watch in awe as he's joined by another guy, and the two do a tap dance off that, combined with the amazing music and singing, brings the house down, and they pause to get a standing ovation from their audience after that number.
Yeah, you know it's good when you get an ovation in the middle of your show.
That was the thing that was funny, too, because it was a really good scene, and then both guys with the woman singing, in the middle, like after the scene was finished, and they're like getting ready to leave, you see people standing up and clapping, and everybody's, woo! And so they really quickly kind of walk forward, take a bow,
yes,
and then go off stage so that they can, continue to the next part of the show. So a man in a gold suit and a woman in a Little Bo Peep outfit, for lack of a better description, they come out, and the two of them sing about how much they love one another, and they both scat all over the place with hibbity-baba-wahs and bleep-blaps and all manner of nonsensical mouth noises that for some reason work with this style of music. I don't know why, but put it in my ear holes.
But now you understand why I like scat.
I don't dislike scat. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's the same thing as if you're listening to any... Like, I think about alternative rock I'd listen to, and people will make... singers will make noises that aren't lyrics that just go along with the music and kind of fill in the gaps. Mm-hmm. I know that's not scat. My brain can't tell them apart because it's all imaginary noises that don't actually mean anything in their own, bubble. So if you plopped dua out of the song, just what is dua? Dua doesn't mean anything. Do, the action of doing something, wah.
It's imitating different instruments.
What is the wah? See, that's what I mean. Like, they're making noises that go along with the music but aren't words. They're not lyrics. And it breaks my brain every time because, one, I cannot scat at all. When you and I have, when I've been listening to music with you in the car or whatever, if you're singing and I try to scat along, it's just crappy.
Yeah, my dad taught me when I was really little. That was one of the few things that my dad taught me that still sticks with me and was positive.
The stage explodes as more people come out and start lindy hopping and throwing each other all over the place in a flurry of twists and spins and barrel roll tornado kicks. Some of these moves look like attacks in a fighting game. I don't know what else to call it when somebody jumps, like they're holding hands with another person, they jump, that person throws them, and they spin in a sideways tornado with their legs spread, and if there were 20 people there, they would have kicked all 20 heads right off. Like, that is some high-level martial arts moves right there.
I mean, that's what it's called now.
Tornado kick.
Barrel roll tornado kick.
Barrel roll tornado kick.
That's the new dance term. Don't make up the rules, I just enforce them.
You know better than to question me. Anyways, the hopping in honor of Lindy ends, and the music slows down and gets some more bass and soul to it. A woman comes out in a pink and black stylish jacket and sings about catching the A train, and she makes some train scat doot-doots, and the subtitles say that it's lively scatting. And boy, do they lively scat all over the place. But then they finally use more real lyrics, and they say again that they're waiting for the A train. And the number ends with a huge applause. So this particular song is a great example of where 95% of the song is scat. Mm-hmm. Because it opens up with her singing very, slowly and deeply just about waiting for the A train. And I know I'm doing that entirely wrong.
It's okay, baby.
But singing about the A train, and then it goes, then once her cohort shows up, they're just doing a lot of dancing and scatting. Mm-hmm. And then at the very end, they just really bellow it out, the waiting for the A train.
And the trombone player comes down and does the solo. And so then that is the perfect example of great use of scat, because they're all basically doing, I guess, a trio at this point of the same sort of, what am I trying to say? They're duetting with a trombone, and it's really cool.
Yeah,
and
it really was.
That's what it's used for. That's when it's the best. And
one of the things that because you never know the dynamics between peers behind the stage. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I at least perceived watching this was it seemed like everybody had really good chemistry with one another, that they were close-knit, because I think about what you're talking about, where that trombone player came out of the main thing, and he's just got this big smile on his face as he's walking up, and he's doing his doot-doots while they're scatting and stuff, and it just, you really, and when he's flanked on both sides by the other two, and they just, big smiles, they are, and I guess that's the thing with performers, you as a performer, mm-hmm. you just love it. You feel the best when you are doing your craft.
Yes.
And these people, they were glowing. They were so happy to be doing what they were doing. And they were doing it with such a level of expertise that you can't help but smile along.
Absolutely.
So, things take a turn now. The music gets dark and somber. The camera focuses in on a woman in pink who starts to sing about her solitude in her memories, while she sits in her chair, full of despair, with memories of her love. And all while this woman is singing beautifully, another woman is on stage in a pink dress, expressing the emotions of the song in dance, and she sure does flail around and do her best to embody the feelings of despair that this woman is singing about. Because at one point she's like on the ground, almost like she's dead, and then she like spreads her legs and just does like this tornado kick and then flips over, you know, and so it's almost like the throes of anguish is kind of the emotion that I got from it. Because you have this beautiful voice, this woman just singing about, you know, and you can probably, fill me in if I'm wrong or if I'm incorrect about this, but it seemed like the song, I don't know if her love was gone or if they died or just they broke up, but it just seems like she's got this torch she's carrying for somebody, and that's what her despair is having the memories of being with that person now that they're no longer there.
Yeah.
And then you had flailing dancer lady representing the physical manifestation of those emotions and just being like, "Wah!"
Yeah, that's the modern dance portion of the show.
Oh, okay. I could see
like
that.
That's kind of how modern dance is.
No, you're so you might need to correct me again. Is modern dance okay, yes, they are different because they're called different things. But I was going to ask if interpretive dance and modern dance are different things. And yeah, because that's why they're called different things. But interpretive dance, I think, is generally more spur of the moment and like channeling what you feel regarding the music, where modern dance, I would say, is probably more choreographed and actually rehearsed.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what she was doing. Even though she did a lot of flailing, I'm sure there was
rehearsed.
Great choreography to it, you know.
And I want to say that interpretive dance is modern dance isn't my big thing, but I want to say that it is a subtype of modern dance, interpretive dances. But I could be very wrong. It has been a long time since I've done anything in that realm of dance.
So I haven't seen a whole lot of interpretive dance. I do remember a talent show one time when I was in school, and there was a girl who did an interpretive dance, and I just remember interpretive dance as just being, she's like, boiled down to the broth in my brain, interpretive dance is, I like this song, but I don't really have dancing skills, so I'm just going to move around and people will think I'm artistic. I know that's not necessarily true, but every person I knew growing up who did any kind of interpretive dance, they were somebody who wished they had a talent or skill but didn't want to practice anything, but still wanted people to think they were good at something. That's really rude. That's really mean of me to say.
And I think that proper interpretive dance, you do need the baseline to be able to have it be something that someone can look at and go, oh, I can see what you're doing, rather than you didn't practice anything for this. Because I'm pretty sure interpretive dance is practiced. It's just that it's self-choreographed more than someone else choreographing you. I could be wrong, because again, it's been a decade since I've done anything related to dance.
And that's fair. And your husband is uncultured swine, wallowing around in his ignorance and hoping that that's all right. So the music swings up and a couple come back on stage and they are just all lovey to one another. Okay, so we have the sad song, Lost in the Memories of Your Despair. That song ends, the music swings back up, and a couple come on stage, and they are just very lovey to one another, and they sing about their good memories and how they live in their hearts, and then they touch faces, and the audience claps. And I will talk about these two, like talk about the chemistry moment. The camera, like these two, I don't know if they were like a thing or not, but you very much get the chemistry feel between them because like the way that they get really, really close when they're just lips to lips singing basically, and the guy has like this intense look on his face, and the woman is just all grin kind of thing, and it makes you happy to watch when you're like, these people are having a good time.
Yeah, and that's some good acting there, because, again, you don't know for sure, and I don't know if they had anything going on behind stage. I don't know, but...
But then they touched faces, and the audience was like, woo! Kissing!
We are such a weird species.
Yeah.
Humans are weird.
I mean, life is weird in general. So...
Woo! You're kissing! Woo!
Woo! Touch those face lips!
Woo!
So
weird.
So Caravan starts to play. Thank you, subtitles. And a man in what I can only describe is a bedazzled flight suit with a bunch of fluff on the collar.
Yes.
So much fluff, in fact, that I thought the man was supposed to be a lion. See my comment about the leopard man in the earlier number. And as this aviator man twirls his silver baton, a line of tap dancing pilots come out and just, in unison, do a great tap dance number.
And they're kind of being like they're the wings on the plane that he's flying.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so he had his baton as the propeller in the front.
You were so right. I see it now. I see it now because I was sitting here going, why does he have the baton? But that makes sense. It was a wide baton, very silver, caught the light, and he's just spinning it really fast. That was the propeller, and then that's why it was just a line of people behind him. They weren't in any kind of specific formation other than just a straight line.
Yes.
Because they were the wings.
One of my special interests when I was a child was old prop planes.
And Kay is so smart. So the audience claps, and the scene changes to a man playing piano. Classic lounge-style piano. 3 men come out, crooning. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. Totally not what they were actually singing, but that's what I put down and that's what I did. One of the men sings about how having a love at home can make Harlem feel like heaven. Another man sings about Dixie, saying you can keep your Dixie, 'cause nothing will pull me away from this hot Harlem. Harlem has those southern skies, but is in the Northeast. And okay, slightly problematic-ish part coming up.
Yeah. Oh, God.
It occurs with a woman in a odd outfit. She comes out, and the subtitles say that she's singing in Chinese.
She is not.
Now, I don't know Chinese. However, I have heard enough Chinese tangentially in foreign movies or whatever else to know that this is not Chinese. What she was singing was 80s American entertainer non-Chinese Chinese. And thankfully, it doesn't go on very long before, like, the other performers kind of grab her and take her off stage with them. And it was great because she sounds really horrible, and, like, all the other entertainers are like kind of giving her an eye as they start kind of walking by like, whoa, buzzkill. And then the last guy on stage just kind of grabs her throat. She's like, like she shakes her back and forth, and then they go off stage.
And that's kind of a throwback to some vaudeville tropes, some tropes that, you know, show up in reviews of you've got your comic relief character, and she is definitely the comic relief actress for this show.
Yeah, she was in a lot of comic relief parts, wasn't she? And I didn't... There we go. There's the part that I lost. So I didn't talk about it as much, but the outfit she was in, so she had kind of one of those, I can't remember what the actual name of the hat is, but stereotypical Chinese hat from like 1900s kind of thing.
Yeah.
One of those big wide brim ones. It kind of looks like that, but not quite as big, and has like fluffy balls on the ends
tassels,
of it. Little tassels. And then she has her outfit with like fluffy tassels and stuff. It just doesn't look great. Her part isn't that particularly great, so I'm glad it was very brief. It's probably my least favorite part of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And at least the comeuppance was swift.
So, the music swings up again, and a barrage of sparkly dancers come out and just tornado spin kick all over the stage in a display of flying limbs that would make any martial arts master nod in approval. All the dancers who have come on and off the stage in this part now all come back on and band together, and they cakewalk with great enthusiasm across the stage.
Yes!
I love their outfits in this one, because it's very tuxedo style, black and white, very classy looking. The ladies, rather than having pants, just have fishnet. It actually kind of reminded me a lot of Scrooged, Bill Murray's Scrooged.
Yes.
With the carol singers that are like in revealing outfits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It reminded me of that a little bit. The song ends, and the curtain falls for the act break. The act break concludes... Oh, and I will... Yeah, okay, actually, I put it in here. The act break concludes after some great, great music, and a somber woman in white comes out to sing about a sentimental mood, and how she never dreamt that you'd love sentimental me. This show does a good job of balancing the down with the up, because this next song is upbeat, and the man and woman on the stage are singing about seeing the light, loving by lantern, seeing rainbows in their wine, seeing the stars in each other's eyes. All the things combined are what make them see the light. And I think the context of that song is it was basically like saying, I see the light in that I love you. Like they're realizing that they have a thing for one another. And, just good. That's the common theme. A lot of stuff is about love, whether it be lost loves, new loves, forgotten loves, broken loves. Just love is kind of the theme.
Yep.
Speaking of which, a new couple comes out singing about squeeze me, don't just tease me, just squeeze me. And the woman asks for 4 kisses. The man says, why 4 kisses? 1 for each cheek. Wink.
Now I know where you put the emoji.
So, oh, that's funny. So, as I was typing, we're watching the show, I turned to Kay at one point and I go, why do I keep putting emojis in my notes? No one's gonna see them but me. And then here I announce winky face. But that's because I actually winked and you folks can't see that.
It was very cute.
So we get some more soft shoe dancing jazziness, and we have 2 men in white dancing with a woman who is dressed like a fruit tree of some kind. The song is a little more quiet than the others, but after it ends, the trumpets come in, and some of that smoky, sweet jazz gets pumped directly into my ear holes as 3 more people come on stage to dance with the men in white and the lady fruit tree. All the participants take turns shaking their groove things to one another before the 6 dancers pull each other off stage. Was she supposed to be a fruit tree? She looks like a fruit tree.
She did, right? But
I don't know what else to call her. She looked like a fruit tree. And I don't mean to say, like, the best way to put... She looked like a sexy fruit tree, which is a sentence I never thought I would utter.
Now, from Spirit Halloween.
I was just about to say, what are you supposed to be for Halloween? A fruit tree. Ma'am? Okay. Let me get this back on track.
Take the A train.
Okay, so I love this next part. So a man driving a taxi cab made of other people drives the taxi cab onto the stage and starts singing wah, 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 pretending to be the car horn. Kay is laughing because I did that so incredibly bad. It's so wrong. You know, we watched this, like, this scene was, what, maybe 30 minutes ago?
Yeah.
The tune's out of my brain.
It's okay, baby.
But yeah, so all the men who make up, because I think he had 4 men with him, because he's sitting in the middle, and
there
then...
There were 6.
Were there
6? 2 guys
okay.
as each bumper.
Yeah, you're right. 2 guys as a bumper, and then 4 guys as each tire, and tire wheel well, and headlight and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, they were, like, bent over, you know, like a 90 degrees being the car part, and then they'd pop up and be like, wah, wah, or wah.
Yeah.
Kind of thing to be the honk.
It was so cool.
It was so funny. Like, it was, the physical comedy of this particular scene was just entertaining. Like, it really made me laugh. Okay, so the man who's driving the yellow taxi cab, made of other people, he drives onto the stage and starts singing, and the cars are all wah, wah, to pretend to be the car horn, as the singer and driver of the human yellow cab sings about how he's lucky, because after his hard day's work, he gets to rush home to be with his lady. And the cars doot, doot, doo, wah, 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 off stage. Like I said, a lot of these things are about just being excited to have a companion of sorts. Fruit Tree Lady makes a return appearance. She comes back on stage with the other ladies from the earlier dance scene, and the additional dancers and more additional dancers join from off stage. A woman comes out and starts to sing about how she went to a dance, uninvited and without a date. A man even came up to her and said, "Hey, Wallflower, why are you here?" And the woman laments, continuing to sing about how she had no invitation to the dance, and everyone leaves her on stage by herself, looking sad and awkward.
Yep, and that was the comic relief lady.
That's the comic relief lady. And she does her bits good, and she seems like she's a good sport about kind of being the butt of some of the jokes.
Yeah.
But this particular song, like, the music and everything was really good in this song, and it was just interesting because there's a part with her singing about, like, when she's dancing, she's kind of oblivious to this guy who is kind of interested in her, and he's like trying to like get her attention to dance with him, but she seems to just be lamenting about how she's at this party uninvited with no date and not noticing the guy who's showing some interest in her.
Yep.
More tap dancing! My heart cries out, and the show delivers with, again, another good, more mellow scene as a single man comes out and just tap dances amazingly while the big band plays behind him. The man then says, "Don't throw no water on me, let me burn," which I think is in regards to just how fast he was going and how hard he was working. Not sure, but it's what I choose to think.
He's on fire.
Gotcha. The tap dancer duplicates like an amoeba, and now there are two tap dancers in matching outfits, dancing in harmony. And also, counter dancing? Is that what I'd call it? I don't know, but all I know is that it is great. So, like, they're dancing, and it would be almost like this guy's dancing while the other one's watching, or maybe just dancing just a little bit. Then the other guy would dance more while the other one just kind of danced and watched. And so I wasn't sure if it was like a, you show me your thing, and then I'll show you mine, or if it was, oh yeah, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, oh yeah, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
It didn't give me the feel of a dance-off, but it could have been.
I mean, if it was a dance-off, it was a
very genial
genial dance-off, yes. The brothers tap conclude their song, and one scampers off stage, leaving the other solo and in the spotlight. The man mimes shuffling cards, using his feet to do the shuffling noises, which was pretty clever. Lively drums pick up the beat, and horns come in, and suddenly some bedazzled card shark types come on stage, and they pretend to play poker with one another while the music freaking bops. This was a really fun scene because there you got five guys all kind of standing in a kind of in a semicircle, but like a wide one, and they're like, there's some good physical comedy because, like, you know, they're all cheating. Like one, you know, all of them would be like looking at the neighbor's cards, and then the neighbor would notice, and then it's just like this domino effect of like, "Lagasp, hide my cards. Lagasp, hide my cards," like all the way down each row, you know. And they did. So you know how at a sporting event people do the wave?
Yes.
Where it like starts on one side and then comes over to you, and then you do your thing. What's that called when there's 5 people? Is it still the wave? What do you call it?
I would think so.
Because
but
they kind of did that style of thing where, like, the person on the far end would do something with their leg and the guy next to them would do something, and it would trickle down all the way to the end. And they did that in a lot of their choreography. And it just was visually appealing, and it was entertaining, especially knowing the context of this song, that it's a bunch of cheaters playing cards.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there is a term for it, but my brain does not want me to remember it for whatever reason.
That is okay. I throw out a bunch of asinine, oddball questions to you, so... Our main man wins the game, though, and all the other poker players throw themselves to the floor and flail in protest of losing. They all eventually stand back up and engage in more twirly dancing. The card champ fans through his money, and a bunch of women come out of nowhere and swarm the man, gazing at his handful of money. But the man's wife, I assume? Girlfriend,
Wife or
maybe?
girlfriend.
She comes in and confronts the man about his clubbing ways, and she says that she's had enough, and she stomps off. The man, newly singled, laments about how his lady has left him, but the fruit tree lady from earlier comes back on stage, and the man rebounds quickly and rushes off with her.
Mm-hmm.
The woman who broke up with him, she's got it bad, Kay, and that ain't good.
Mm-mm.
No siree. She sings about how her heart is sentimental, not made of wood. Now she's ended up just like she started, crying her heart out.
Mm-hmm.
She's got it bad, and that ain't good. The sad woman is confronted by another, even sadder woman who's like, "You think you've got it bad? You ain't never been blue. She's not only blue, she's indigo. She's so lonely. She could cry 'cause there's no one who cares about her. That's why she's got that mood indigo."
Yep.
The woman from earlier starts back up again, saying, "Some folks with good intentions tell me to save my tears."
Perfect timing.
Both of these ladies got it bad. One is a lonely, weeping willow, lost in the woods. The other tells her pillow things that no woman should. Scandalous. But what they can agree upon is that both women have it bad, and that ain't good.
Mm-hmm.
The next song, against my previous theory of up and down, is still kind of down. It's quiet, more somber jazz, but as I'm typing this, the music starts to swing up, and the dancers start getting partners, and they start moving faster and faster. Their dancing becomes less classical waltzing and more swingish. I thought it would continue to pick up, but now it drops back down a bit as a very fancy lady in a very, very fancy coat. She comes on, and she starts to dance very slowly and controlled, as a man nearby sings about how she's changed, smoking, drinking, not thinking about tomorrow, dancing with strange men. The somber woman takes her coat back from the man and walks off stage. But it doesn't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Comes back in, and the dancing man is joined by 4 backup dancers, and they kick some tap. I don't know why I said that, but I'm going to stand by it. Some more dancers come on so everyone can pair off. The tempo picks up, and everyone starts dancing faster and faster to the dua 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 dua. The music crescendos, and the title drops down from the ceiling, and everyone on stage bows. Each performer comes on one by one or in pairs to bow and receive their applause from the audience. The conductor, Duke Ellington's son, comes down and receives his own applause.
Yeah, Mercer Ellington,
as the band plays out the show and the credits roll.
Mm-hmm.
And dua 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 dua, 'cause it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Dua 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 dua. I liked the show.
I'm glad.
It was so very different from anything that we've reviewed.
It
wasn't an opera. It wasn't a traditional musical. It was just kind of a musical spectacle.
Yeah, it's one of. It's definitely up there for me with the shows that we've covered, because
entertaining, wall-to-wall, great music, great performers, just very, very entertaining. I can see why this style of performance was so popular.
Yes.
Because it's great. It's entertaining. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it.
And people still do them. They don't always say that they're doing a review, but really, it does feel like that is a thing that exists.
I enjoyed bouncing on my groove thing to this entire show.
I am so glad.
Yeah.
I am so glad, because, yeah, I liked it.
I love jazz, too. It just there's so much music that I do like that I just don't listen to, you know? It's like when we listen to classic rock, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is really good. You know, and then it's like big band jazz music comes on, and I'm just like, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. I'm going to be singing that when we're doing dinner tonight.
That's fine.
Dua, 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 dua.
All right, so, Warren, are you ready for what we are doing next?
Hit me with it, Kay.
So starting for next week, we are back to our usual episodes for a little while. And we are going to be doing one that we actually watched during our hiatus.
I'm excited to do this one.
Yes. It was a show that I had been wanting to see forever, and then friend of the show, Melissa Findley,
Poked us and said, hey.
us. Yeah, and oh my goodness, it was so good.
It was during the lull of when we weren't really doing shows, but then that popped up and it was like, okay,
yes, we need this right now. And so we are going to be doing A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, which I am so excited about because it was a really fun show to watch. It was a show that I wasn't sure how we were going to be able to watch it. So when Melissa messaged me on Twitter, I was just like,
yeah.
Yes!
Thank you.
Thank you!
Yeah.
Except for much more subdued because I'm more subdued over text than...
That's why emojis exist.
Yes.
So that over text you can know the emotion behind the words.
Or a keyboard smash.
Or a keyboard smash.
I don't even know how those are pronounced, but anyway. So yeah, next week we're back to our usual shows, and we will be doing A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. Woo! So thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Tone Deaf. We hope that you enjoyed it, and one good thing is that you can see Sophisticated Ladies on Amazon, included with a Broadway HD membership, which is worth it. This is not paid promotion, it's just me going, hey, this is where we saw it, you can see it too.
Appreciate the art.
Appreciate!
Yes. So thank you all so much for listening to this episode and joining us on this musical review extravaganza exploration thing. If you'd like to reach out to Kay and myself, you can do so at our home base, which is tonedeafmusical.com. There we have links to all of our social medias, our Twitters, our Facebooks, our Instagrams, as well as a link to the Cast Junkie Discord server where we have our own Not Safe for Work channel.
And it's mostly not safe for work for swears.
Yeah. Kay and I are probably going to be changing some social media stuff, and it's not safe for work, but it's not really not safe for work.
Yeah, it's not really not safe for work. It's just so that every so often we can drop an F-bomb that we don't drop on these episodes. If you want to support the show, you can do so by going to any of your podcatchers, your iTunes, your Spotifys, your Good Pods, your Podchasers, and leaving a 5-star review. Those really help us out. If you don't know what to say, you can say, it don't mean a thing if they ain't got that swing, and you can type in little scat in the review. If you want to go above and beyond, you can do so by going to our Patreon, which is Tone Deaf Musical. There we have different levels that you can join at. We also do have merch at our TeePublic. Anyway, I think that'll be it for this week. I'm Kay.
I'm Warren.
And this has been Tone Deaf.
It don't mean a thing when I'm cooking dinner, and I hopefully don't burn my hand this time. Aloe vera is so great when you burn yourself cooking steak. Do I want to eat some steak? Yeah.
It'll make a difference if it's cold or hot. Just don't